In this first lesson, we'll prep our scene prior to starting our control rig. This is scene 01 in your project files directory. Now we're going to be discussing some very fun and essential things that I know you'll really enjoy when it comes to rigging in Max. But firstly, let's say we go ahead and get started by adding a custom quad menu that we'll use to access tools we'll be using quite often. So we'll head over to the Customize menu and choose Customize User Interface right at the top. Alright, from there, we want to make sure we're going to be under our quad tab. What I like to do from here is go to the quad drop down and choose animation. So we'll be making a custom animation quad UI. Alright, let's go and add a separator. We'll just use the left mouse button to drag that right underneath our curve editor. Okay, so we can organize things. Now the first tool we'll add is going to be our bone tools. So we'll go to our commands list. Just click inside, press the B key so we can quickly find this tool. And getting close, there it is. Now we can drag that right underneath our separator. The next tool we'll add is going to be our history independent solver or high IK solver. So again, clicking in our list, we'll press the H key, scroll down. Everything is in alphabetical order, making this a little bit easier for us to find. There it is, history independent solver. Let's go ahead and add that. Okay, now we can add another separator. Okay, the next group of tools we'll add will be our constraints. So let's go ahead and start by adding a path constraint. Again, clicking in the list, we'll now press the P key, scroll down, getting close, and there it is. Okay, so we're definitely going to be utilizing this for something really fun. Alright, let's go ahead and add the position constraint next. So we'll scroll down a little bit further. Okay, there is the position constraint. The next constraint we'll add is going to be our look at constraint. Alright, so let's go ahead and find that. See, almost there. Oh, there it is. Almost past it. Okay, the next tool will be our orientation constraint. And that will be our last constraint that we'll add. If we need to add any others, we'll definitely do that as we progress. Alright, great. The last section that we'll add will be for our layer manager, so we can quickly access that. So let's go and add another separator right underneath our orientation constraint, and let's find the layer manager. Now, it's actually called manage layers, so we'll need to press the M key. And here it is, right underneath the separator. Okay, so now that we have all of these tools set, we'll now want to save this. Alright? And a name I like to use is as follows: Custom Anim UI. So Custom Animation UI. Now we can save this out. And whenever we restart Max, we're going to need to go back to our quad tab, go to load, and load in our Custom Anim UI. From there, if we were to go back to our animation quad, there are all of our tools. Alright, so now we can close this out. Our last task here is going to be to add layers to store some of our objects underneath. Definitely the character, so we can make him non-selectable and quickly add things like bones and controls. We'll also be adding an envelope objects layer, and lastly, objects to hide for any elements in our rig that drive certain things but that we don't want the animator to see, so they don't think that's a control. Alright, so to get started here, we'll press Alt, the right mouse button, so we can quickly get to our Manage Layers tool. And then from there, let's go ahead and marquee select our entire character and create a new layer containing selected objects. Now, I don't want this to be the active layer. I want the default layer to be active. Okay, we could see this check mark here next to our layer that we've just made, letting us know it's active. I want the first layer, the default, to be active so that when we create objects, they're not going to be added to our characters layer. All right. Going back to our layer 1, let's go ahead and rename this. This is going to be simply animation character. Okay, now that that's done, we can go ahead and freeze the character. Now when you do this, if you see that your character turns gray, just right click on your layer, go to object properties, and make sure that show frozen in gray is actually turned off. Okay, may need to actually also go to your layer properties and just double check that as well. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and close that out. Now the next thing we'll add, or the next layer that is going to be for our envelope objects. So we'll go ahead and create a new layer with nothing selected. Again, we want the default layer to be active, and then we'll go ahead and rename this new layer envelope objects. Alright, we'll create one more layer for now, and this is going to be for all objects that we want hidden. So we'll simply call this objects to hide. Alright, and we'll want to make that not the active layer. We'll make that default layer the active. Close this out, and that actually finishes this first lesson. So in the next lesson, we're ready to get right in and begin building our control rig.